Yeah, it is an episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. Congratulations are in order. Uncle Soto.
Hey.
Congrats. Is this your first niece / nephew?
Yeah, it's my first like actual niece.
Blood niece.
Blood niece.
Blood in, blood out niece.
Yeah, because like, look, I'm super close, especially to my dad's side of the family, and I have a bunch of cousins. Like I have like 8. There's like 9 of them, so I have 8 aunts and uncles. So all their kids, and then all their kids' kids, because like, plus my aunt had kids when she late, so I was taking care of a bunch of little cousins and their kids, but this is my first blood.
Props to you guys breaking the Mexican stereotype. Yeah,
I know, right? Kids everywhere.
At least they dress her well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I dressed her well.
Little Raider beanie.
She's awesome, dude. I went and saw her on Saturday again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's pretty cool, man. Every time I see her, I freaking play the Autumn Wind for her.
Mm-hmm.
Like I might tell them, hey guys, every time. That's all I ask is let me make her a Raider fan. That's it.
Yeah. Well, props to her for getting born in the off season. I always say my daughter and Maxx Crosby's daughter are true football daughters because they were born during the NFL season, but during the Raiders bye week. So neither me nor Max had to miss a game.
They knew what's
up.
Our
presence in those games are equally important. So props to our daughters.
You need to make sure that you're there to support.
One last thing on kids. We're like balls deep in potty training. My 3-year-old.
Oh no.
And she's peeing in the toilet regular basis every time.
Solid.
No mistakes yet. No accidents. Speaking of solids, but pooping in the toilet, different situation. I don't know why. I just like loves the feeling of a nice warm load in her pants. I don't know.
Who doesn't?
Literally just now, we're recording this keeps your butt cheeks warm. We're recording this on a Wednesday night. We're like, all right, we just got bath time's done, putting her in her pajamas. Like, okay, you need to go poo-poo? Like, no. Are you sure you don't need to go potty? No potty? No potty. Put her diaper on for bedtime, put on her pajamas, and then immediately she just stands there and like just stares at me. Shit her pants right there.
Just shitting.
She's just like, she's just literally waiting for a diaper so she can shit in it and not actually poop in the toilet that she was standing 3 feet away after I asked her 3 times.
I mean, wait a couple of years and she's going to have to do that to you.
That's what I'm saying. I'm going to remind her. None of her diapers.
Remember that time? I looked you straight in the eye and asked you, and you shit your pants right in front of me?
She's going to roll me in the old folks' home to the toilet. And she's like, do you need to go poo-poo? We're like, no, I'm good. And she's going to roll me into my bed. I'm going to crack a smile as I look at her, and my 97-year-old ass is going to shit my pants.
Ugh. Sweet
revenge. Daddy's ass.
Sweet revenge.
Oh, kids. Question of the day. Which Raider will be the biggest surprise this season? We do this question a couple times in off season because I like going back and thinking like, oh, this is what we thought right after the draft. This is what we thought going into OTAs. This is what we thought game 3 of the preseason, and see how things change or not change. I really like knowing how we feel about things at different phases of the season and off season. So we'll come back to this question, but there'll be your question pinned at the top of the comment section. Let us know. Which Raider do you think will be the biggest surprise this season? Soto, care to go first?
You know, they drafted Tre Tucker for a specific reason. Mm-hmm. And I think they're going to dial up some shit for that kid. And he's not a 4.40 guy. He's not. Is
the shit they dial up going to be in Frankie's diaper, or
that's the shit that she dials up?
Okay, yeah, you're right.
She wants that banana mash in her freaking
1-800 wipe my ass, Dad.
Yeah. Oh, that's disgusting. I don't miss those days. I'm gonna be.
It was pure baby poop green. It was like cream spinach. Yeah,
she had freaking cream spinach or like peas or something.
No, she looks like she eats her vegetables, which is a lie. Her poop is a lie. She's turned our bathroom into a house of lies. with her poop.
Oh God! At least be honest with yourself, you know.
Yeah.
No, I honestly do think Tre Tucker will, because, I mean, he's not like a polished receiver or a guy that you can put out there and he can win, outside routes and stuff like that. Like, he's a guy that you get him the ball with a specific purpose of getting him the ball. Like, the play is to get him the ball here or run screens or just he's that type of player. And he's not as slow as he ran. I mean, he ran his pro day was 4.29. And his get off is amazing. He has elite level 10-yard split at one. I think it was 1.48. Same as Bennett. Super fast, super explosive, good wiggle, good return. I think he's going to have a big year, man.
I was tempted to pick a playmaker, but it's just like there's just that ball. There's only one ball, and you've got Jacobs that's going to need the rock, Davante, Hunter, all these guys. So, if you can carve out a niche, that'd be great. I don't think it's expect. Well, and I liked, for the purposes of this gig, I don't think there's a lot of expectations on him. So if he can deliver something even quasi diff, produce just a decent amount.
I'm not trying to say they're going to line up 4 wide and he's going to get the ball a lot, because he's not. He's going to get the ball specific situations where they want to get him the ball specifically. Mm-hmm. And I think he's going to do great things when he gets the ball. He's not going to be a 20-touch guy. He's not going to be that guy. He'll get 3, 4, 5 touches a game maybe, but he's going to do a lot with those touches.
I was tempted to go one of the second-year players in our defense, Trevon Merrick, Nate Hobbs, but I'm still optimistic that they'll turn things around after last season. Not that like Hobbs' season was awful or he just got hurt, right? So it wouldn't be, I think, a terrible surprise if they played pretty well. So I went way off the reservation. I went Jermaine Eleumunor.
Really?
I think the offensive line is trending in the right direction. I think the jitters of the system being moved around as much as it did, I think that played a big part in a lot of his penalties. I think and like his attitude, right? He was gonna we're gonna be the best tackles in football. I was like, okay, I like the attitude. They had a lot going against him, right? I mean, he's playing next to Alex Barr. He's got to cover his ass, right? And that's why I went him instead of because left side of the line, the best part of the line, right? Miller, Parham, James. I think Eluemunor. I think Eluemunor is going to turn into a average tackle for us. I think he'll be a fine NFL starter this season.
Yeah, see, I don't know, man.
Which would be huge.
I think
so big if we can get a decent tackle on the right side.
I think he's pretty much topped out. Mm-hmm. That's one of the reasons why I didn't pick anyone. I mean, I thought about picking Parham. Usually that offensive lineman's second year is pretty big, especially if he did well his first year. But I just think Eluemunor is pretty much maxed out. I think that's why they're still looking to draft a tackle in the first round, because I think that's what they're going to get from Eluemunor is what he's shown you. And it's solid. It's steady. It's not bad by any means. It's not bad, but I think they can do better. I think that's
kind of bad last season if you add all the penalties. If you count the penalties.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's who he's going to be.
Yeah.
That's who he's going to be.
I think the line in general is trending correctly, and I think he's going to be one of the big beneficiaries of it.
I hope so.
Hoping so. Fingers crossed. Who do you guys think? Let us know. Comment section. Which Raider will be the biggest surprise this season? Maybe it's a surprise bat. Maybe you think Davante Adams is going to forget to play football. I don't know. Maybe you want to do that way. Go crazy, guys. Go crazy. So as you're listening to this on a Thursday, the NFL schedule release will be happening today. I will be traveling, but Soto will be doing a live show Thursday, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific Ocean. And it'll be a good show. It'll be great. Very much looking forward to it. We'll get to that in a little bit. I just want to give you guys some programming notes. First up, with free agency basically over, I mean, there'll be little tiny ads here, mostly cuts from here on out. But the roster of the Raiders is more the guys, the 53 that will be playing this season are basically on the roster now, more or less.
More or less. You can get a couple here and there.
More or less. So who will be the starters for the Raiders this season? free agency class is in. The draft class is in. Let's try to predict our starters. Now, we'll get again, this is another one of those things where the answers will change as OTAs happen, preseason happens. We'll get more definitive answers. But I like playing this game early because I liked weighing expectations versus what happens. We can always go back and be like, man, we were so high on Jordan Meredith or whoever.
Period. We were
right?
so high. Stop.
Period. And this is the show that we did. So I kind of always go with ESPN's depth chart just as like a basis. It's not, it's never like exactly correct. They currently have Jimmy Garoppolo, Josh Jacobs, Davante Adams, Jacoby Myers, Hunter Renfrow, Austin Hooper, Jakob Johnson, Colton Miller, Dylan Parham, Andre James, Alex Bars, Jermaine Eleumunor as the starters. And obviously that's players. But the fullback's going to be the fullback. And they'll probably do a lot more 2 tight end sets. But the number one guy at each position, what do you think of this lineup? I think the biggest question mark is like day one. Is it Austin Hooper or Michael Mayer getting the majority of the snaps?
Mm-hmm.
Is maybe the biggest question for me. But other than that, this looks about right.
If Mayer shows any type of competence whatsoever, he's going to start. He just hasn't put pads on yet. Well, if he shows any type of anything, he's going to be the starter. That's the guy they wanted. That's the one they went up to. You don't trade up in the second round, a premium pick, a top 40 pick. You don't trade up for a guy and then start Austin Hooper. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's going to start. He just hasn't put the pads on yet, but he's going to start. As far as Alex Bars go, that could be a shuffling. It could be a Thayer Munford thing because he played guard too when he was at Ohio State. There's a Thayer Munford thing. You can maybe shove Eluemunor in. Eluemunor can play guard too. You have one of the undrafted free agents we picked up, maybe that guy. Brandon Parker, he was slated as a starter before he got injured last year. He may come in here and show something. So I see the right side of that line being in flux right now, for sure.
100%. I think it's safe to say that guard and tackle are Alex Bars and Jermaine Eluemunor's not jobs to lose, but like all things being equal, like they're like looked at as the starters, but it's an open competition for those 2 spots.
Yeah, I just think Bars, it's like I think they're just waiting for somebody to take the job away from him. I think solid is kind of a little bit of an overstatement with Bars. I think the line plays well as a unit, but he is by far the weak link in that line. And he's just never been a guy who's been a long-term starter anywhere he's gone. And that's, you saw what happened at the end of the year. Anyone who has Chris Jones is one of the better defensive linemen in the league, and he couldn't do a damn thing. And it's just, you can't have games like that. And he had too many of them. I just think they're waiting for one of these guys to give him a reason,
So this is the lineup. If they're in a 3 wide receiver set, 1 tight end. No Jakob. We'll just forget, let's pretend like Jakob's not there. This is, I think, the starting lineup. Who do you think it would be if they go 2 wide receiver? They did like a 21 formation.
I think it all depends, man. I mean, it depends on the formation. And if you put
Josh Jacobs, Jakob, 1 tight end. Is it Hunter or Jacoby?
I think it'll be Jacoby for the most part. I think he's a little bit better playing on the outside. I think if you do like 2 wide receivers on one side of the line, a slot guy, you can be Hunter. But I do think that if it's 2 outside receivers and then like an X and a Y, a Z, it's gonna be Myers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the strength of this offense is the receiving core. Other than having the NFL leading rusher and Josh Jacobs, you want as many of these, you want your Pro Bowlers on the field, Soto. I'm not a super genius when it comes to football, but you want your Pro Bowlers playing
the
football.
Good guys. You want the good guys to play?
I've been told. Yeah, you want the good guys.
Whoa. There's no snap limit here. There's no snap limit here. We don't have to like play everyone a certain amount of snaps. It's not how it works.
There's no load management unless you're the whores that's hanging out with Jimmy Garoppolo. They've got some
Hey-o.
management issues. Hey, but everyone else, you're playing ball. Defense. They currently have it as a base 4-3, so we'll just start there, and we can always move it around. Maxx Crosby, Jerry Tillery, Bilal Nichols, Chandler Jones. Weak side linebacker, Devon Diablo. Middle linebacker, Robert Spillane. Strong side linebacker, Luke Masterson. Outside cornerbacks, Nate Hobbs, Duke Shelley. Strong safety, Marcus Elps. Free safety, Trevon Merrick. This one looks a lot more like there's going to be some moving and shaking. What?
Did you call him Elps? You butchered at least 7 of these names.
Marcus Epps?
Yeah, you call him Elps.
Which ones? It's Marcus Epps.
You called him Marcus Elps, number 1.
Okay.
You called him Parham. His name is Parham. Dylan Parham.
I'm always going to get that one wrong. It's my new Clayton Farrell.
Clay Farrell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know how often they're going to be in a base 4-3. Not often, I don't think. But if it's a base 4-3, I can see this definitely being it. I just don't see them being in this defense very often.
I saw one kind of kind of foretelling what the starting lineup will be, and they were in a 4-2, and they had Hobbs at the slot. And it's weird. It's like, okay, we don't have a lot of great linebackers, but we don't have a lot of great DBs either. So it's almost like,
I mean, Faison can play. He showed that he can play. Faison can play on the outside.
You want Duke Shelley as the other outside corner? I just hate seeing Hobbs, who's got so much potential as a slot corner, having to play outside just because there's no other options.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. Is we could put Faison and Shelley on the outsides. I don't know, man. It's just we have to see them on the field playing with each other, playing in this system. You
like to see them playing with each other?
Yes, playing. Of course, RJ playing with each other. Yes, that's exactly what I want.
Well, as opposed to playing with themselves. I mean, that's just gross. I could see a 4-3, but you have like Tyree Wilson as like more of an edge outside backer type guy. You know what I mean? Like I really want to like Chandler Jones is going to get a shit ton of playing time because he's a veteran making so much money. Maxx Crosby's Maxx Crosby. Let's move Wilson around. You know,
I mean, a little bit. I have a little higher hopes for Chandler Jones this year just because of the second half he had last year. The second half of the last year was actually not that bad. If you double it, I don't think because look, we were when we in training camp last season. Chandler Jones missed a lot of time. We didn't hear a lot of injury stuff or like maybe he's just like a load management type of thing, and it just seemed like he was always missing a lot of time for whatever reason. It just didn't seem like he was able to get out of the blocks very well. And second half of the season, he came back on. If you take those stats and double them, it's not bad.
Well, that's my point. I mean, whether Chandler Jones plays a lot because he's playing well or plays a lot because he's paid a lot, he's going to be playing a lot regardless. Like he's with that contract. Hopefully it's because he's playing well, but with that contract, he's going to be playing a lot. Mm-hmm. So it's a matter of who draws the short end of the stick between Max, Chandler, and Wilson, right? Like who's going to be in their traditional edge spots and who's going to be like, okay, we want you on the field because the strength of our defense is our D-line, even though it's not amazing. Let's make sure all 3 of you guys are on the field as much as possible. That's what we're talking like literally on number 1 on draft day. We're like, oh man, imagine Maxx Crosby with his hand in the dirt and Tyree just kind of like right behind him on the edge or outside backer. Like, holy shit. Like, how do you block that?
Well, yeah, that's what we saw, a little bit towards the end of the year. I have higher hopes for him for producing more of what we're used to seeing from him. Because he was awful the first half of the season last year.
Do you see any of the other rookies being starters? If not early, maybe later.
Let's see. Later in the season, I can see.
I can see Bennett.
I can see Bernie. I can see Bernie playing a lot towards the end of the year. let's see here. Who else? Chris Smith, man, I can see him, pushing for some serious playing time.
Because there wasn't other than Dylan, there was almost no rookies with any reasonable amount of playing time last season. There wasn't anyone.
Farrell could push for a lot of snaps. Let's see.
Farrell's a second-year guy now. Last year.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's really it. I mean, there's a couple, maybe two dudes that might fight for some decent playing time, but
I guess again, Bennett, like you said, Bennett. I can see Bennett just jumping in.
I think Bennett has the best chance because corner, I think, is the most open,
especially
if they move Nate to slot.
Yeah, their base defense is going to be nickel. That's their base defense, either a 3-3 or a 4-2 front. It's they're not going to do a base 4-3. They're just not going to do it. They're going to have nickel. That's just 90% of the NFL runs that. But yeah, that's the thing.
And we need two starting outside corners.
Yeah. Well, the thing is we just have so many question marks right now. Not so much in Epps. He's shown to be a solid player. Merrigs, there's some questions. There's some questions there, man. There's question marks there. Can he play? Can he do the things that he's going to be asked to do in this system? Can he?
And safeties is the stronger part of the DBs, right? Like,
honestly,
if Hobbs plays slot, we don't have two starting outside corners. It's just for whoever fights it out in training camp. And that's why I like doing this early because like maybe come preseason game number 2, there's like, David Long has just completely secured that spot. He busted his ass in training camp, getting all the snaps. Like, all right, sweet, he earned it. We can say right now, May 10th, in the year of our Lord 2023, outside corner is 2 giant question marks. And we always like to end with special teams because it's just so goddamn beautiful. Daniel Carlson, AJ Cole.
Dude, you get so wet over that.
Dude, and you don't? Oh, my God.
Look, man, we kept the more clutch DC. So I got to tell you.
It's just so fucking beautiful.
Daniel Carlson, baby. Bang.
Half as many Pro Bowls as Derek Carr. It'll get there.
Okay.
I had a little, I don't know if you saw this. I don't know if you saw this article. And there's not a real big reason you would. It was just kind of a whatever article from Yahoo. But I saw something that Thayer Munford mentioned. And it triggered a part of my brain. And it just got me thinking. And it's obviously it's not going to be groundbreaking. But I don't think we ever really got to sink our teeth into this conversation all that much. Thayer Munford was big time lineman for Ohio State. Big fish, small pond, right? You're Ohio State starter. You mess up most dudes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Comes in the NFL, and he says this. Usually I'm used to beating everybody, like every one-on-one rep. But now I'm not really beating everybody because I'm going against Maxx Crosby and Chandler Jones. And it's like, they're pretty freaking good. It's like, how can I get myself through this so I can see the best version of myself? And it's kind of got me thinking, the O-line, we knew it wouldn't be great to start the season. He's even worse than we thought, specifically penalties and pass defense. And as the season went along, we had 12 different 12 different guys start for us at one point. I think that was at the end of the season, 12 different dudes made a start on the line for the Raiders. 5, 6, 7 different starting, not formations, but groupings. And eventually, they found their stroke, found their 5, and they steadily improved throughout the season, specifically run defense. Got pretty decent. And we just kind of thought of it okay, yeah, it's young guys going for, what do we always ask for? Continuity of our O-line. And they got better. You can't, if you're getting worse, it's pretty bad, right? Everyone gets better when you're young, unless you're Alex Leatherwood, right? Everyone gets better as you go along. If you're a young player in the NFL, you get better as the season goes along. But I wondered if the secret ingredient wasn't going against Maxx and Chandler every day. I wonder if that should have been, because we talked about, credit to the old line coach, credit to the player specifically, credit to Josh McDaniels for formatting blocking schemes that work for them. I don't feel like we gave enough credit to Maxx and Chandler. I think we should.
Well, they're guys that are known to have just great work ethic, so they get as good as they've gotten by working as hard as they have on not only their technique, but just that mindset. Every single rep, every single play. I want to win every single rep.
Yeah.
Even in practice. So you take that mindset into every day in practice, that spreads, right? That spreads to everyone because people don't want to get embarrassed. You get embarrassed by Maxx Crosby a couple times in a row. People are like, oh, maybe this guy can't play.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it makes a lot of sense. And that's what you want. You want to have that type of feeling grow and spread throughout your team because you want to make sure everyone is pushing each other to be the best they can be. And it starts in practice.
And it's not just that Maxx Crosby is really, really good, but he's also I'm not even going to drop to 99% on a single rep. Like this is a dude that was going all out in the Pro Bowl. You know what I mean? Like this is
returning touchdowns and shit.
Like he doesn't know where the brake pedal is until the whistle blows, right? And we've all been there, right? Like, or anyone who played football, and let's say you're like a sophomore or something, you're playing against the upperclassmen, and the upperclassmen, like I was a tight end and I was maybe going against a defensive end or something, and the upperclassmen be like, hey, just let's go easy on this rep. God, it's hot outside. It's 85 degrees, second double day. We're 2 weeks into this, and like whisper in your ear, like, all right, let's make each other look good. You know what I mean? Like there's always guys like that on the team. And
God bless them.
God bless them, right? But we don't want them on our team. That's what we did in high school. That's not what the Raiders do in the pros.
We weren't getting paid either.
And that ain't Maxx, right? Like you're never going to be a young offensive lineman in practice, and Maxx is going to be like, hey, let's make each other look good and take the next couple, half-ass the next couple reps, right? Just is he good, but it's 100% every single time the whistle blows, practice, preseason, postseason, regular season, fucking getting up for breakfast. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's all the way. Red line all the way, for sure.
And now I'm hoping that Tyree Wilson could add to that as well. If we can get all these guys, not just. And it's just like a side benefit, right? Obviously, the pass rush is what's most important about having all these guys. But this could be the best thing that happened for our O-line. Maxx keep improving. Chandler, like you said, hopefully maybe it was like an injury thing last season as he steadily improved. And if Tyree is as advertised and our young still kind of coagulating under, average or below average or hopefully getting better than average line goes against those guys every day. You're either forced to get better or you're gonna die.
You're forced to get better, they'll replace you. That's the instance where it's the squeaky wheel gets replaced.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you keep squeaking because you're getting big. We keep drawing bad attention to yourself. They're just gonna put someone else in there. And I was going through that whole process when not last week but the week before when I was talking about the draftees. And they have a template of what they're looking for. Even in the plant, the undrafted free agent out of UNLV, like there's a template there of long, athletic, tall defensive ends. And if you're going to get plugged in there and you have two guys that are already at a super high level, an all-pro level, that work ethic, you have to match or exceed. You can't fall behind because this guy's already making the money that I want to make, and he's showing you how he's doing it. So I definitely see that big things coming. And that, again, like you said, the more it rubs off on everyone else on the defensive line, the better it is for the offensive line.
One of John Gruden, one of his best coaching lines is your best players have to be your hardest workers. And that's generally been the case, even though the Raiders, haven't been performing as well. That's generally more or less been the case is, Maxx, Jacobs, Davante, Hunter, our Pro Bowlers are badass workers.
Well, yeah, and the main thing to what that statement was the best players.
Mhm.
Like from all accounts, Cleve Farrell was a hard worker, but he just wasn't good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have the same rub. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have the right stink on it.
Well, it's a matter of it's team culture, right? Like we want to be a team that busts their ass every single time. When you look up at all the Pro Bowlers, all the dudes making 90 million, right? The guys with those giant contracts that have been to the Pro Bowl, you're like, that's how you get there. I've told this story on this show how TJ Houshmandzadeh was at Fox in Who's Your Mama, right? Was in the green room when I was there working UFC stuff, and he was there doing NFL stuff. I think he was on Cowherd or something. And he was telling the story about when he was out at the Bengals and Chad Ochocinco would just like leave practice. He'd just have a pity party and just leave. And TJ's a rookie, and he's like, I guess that's how it works. I guess if you're really, really good, you don't have to work hard. I guess that's how it is in the NFL. Because we just assume like, yeah, play football, you have to work hard. Like they all know that. It's like, no, they don't. Not everyone. You get to the NFL, your eyes are this big, right? Like you're in the NFL now. Like, wow, how does this work? And you see Maxx, Davante, Jacobs just busting their ass. First one's there, last one's out, never taking a rep off. That's the culture you want embedded in your team. Specifically, like a Josh McDaniels, Bill Belichick, every team wants to be that way. It's even more so this squad.
Yeah. That's definitely what they're looking for. That's what they're building for. Mm-hmm. And they're putting the pieces in place and just letting it happen organically. They're letting the players take it. Like, I mean, you're telling me that wide receiver room that Davante Adams is going to put up with people fucking around and not paying attention in the meetings, in the prep, in the game plan days when they're implementing the game plans and shit like that. Like, he's not going to put up with that shit. You don't have time for that.
I wonder if Davante's an in-your-face type leader or just leader by example. Because I know Maxx has always talked about like
there's a middle ground there too. You don't have to be in your face to say something.
Well, like I know how Maxx, he's said multiple times, he's like, I'm not like a rah guy. Every kind of football player who does something great, like you see him, celebrate. But he's like, he's mostly a leader by example. There's guys who like grab the microphone, and the Ray Lewises of the world, right? Where it's just a mouthpiece that never that everyone listens to all the time. Maxx is like, I'm more of a leader by example. I'm really curious. I wonder how Davante is on that practice field. What his ratio of rah to example. Yeah, shoot him a text. Let him know. Like we mentioned, the schedule release, it'll be Thursday evening, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific, right here on the Autumn Windbags channel. Check it out on the tube. But I want to do a little primer. I want to do a little look ahead. So we know who we're playing. We know who's home. We know who's away. We just don't know when. Okay? So just a quick recap on how it works. You've got obviously the three teams in your conference that you play home and away: Broncos, Chiefs, Chargers. And then you play two other divisions, home and away. So you've got NFC North. You've got the Packers and the Vikings at home, Bears and the Lions away. And then we're also playing the AFC East. So we've got at home Patriots and Jets, and away Bills and Dolphins. And then you play one conference team who was on the same, who placed in the division same as you. So we got third. So that means we play third place NFC North Steelers at home. Third place NFC East Giants home. And then there's the 17th weird game where it's just kind of like they just match you with somebody who's close to you, right? Like you're both kind of like one of you ended 19th, one of you ended 21, and that's the Colts away. So that's who we're playing. This
some fucking revenge on that damn game from last year. Jesus.
There's some fun games. There's some fun storylines going into this. Looking at this Soto, this ain't bad by Raider standards. Normally it's like a ton of, we're like one of the most furthest distance travel teams because we're on the West Coast. They're not giving us like a London or a Mexico City or something like that, right? With the new stadium, we're getting to stay home. And even more importantly, that's 1, 2, 4 East Coast teams that were playing at home, saves on the travel. And even the away games, Detroit,
Indoors.
if it's cold weather, it's in a dome. Colts, if it's cold weather,
Indoors.
it's in a dome. Miami, the weather's going to be better
They
there
don't
than in
get
Vegas.
cold weather there.
Right? Only 2 potential like cold weather games, Chicago and Buffalo, albeit maybe the 2 possible coldest games, out there.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of not too bad. Now we're like, I think we're like 8th most difficult schedule when it comes to just win percentage of last season.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as distance traveled, stadium, and weather, not bad. Not bad.
Sir, I hate to disagree with you. I'm lying. I'd love to disagree with you. But the Broncos, KC,
and Chiefs,
those are some potential ass cold weather games.
But that's every season.
I understand what you're saying, but we're talking about the schedule as a whole, and there's 4 potentially really shitty weather games. But I doubt that maybe we'll get 3 of them. I doubt we'll get. They're gonna. I just don't think that's gonna happen. I think we're gonna get. Hopefully, we get a nice fall in upstate New York. We don't have to go when it's super blazing hot early in the year or like frozen at the end of the year. Same thing with Chicago.
Pre-Halloween game.
God,
Chicago,
I would love a Halloween game.
You get to see
Chicago,
the leaves changing, high 50s, low 60s.
We're used to playing. KC's going to suck no matter what.
A gentle little breeze coming over the lake at 3 miles an hour. Very gentle.
I would love like between late September and early November, that little maybe 6-week stretch. Mm-hmm. We could pop, the Bills and the Bears into that range. That would be nice.
That would be beautiful.
Anything other than that, it's going to be brutal because it's either really hot or super cold.
And spread around the travel would be nice on the away games.
God, Minnesota and Green Bay and fucking New England at home too. Those are big.
Yeah, those are nice. Well, we're definitely going to get Denver and Chiefs in the second half of the season, right? We get a couple in the first half, couple in the second half. Those will be. Hopefully, it's the home games, right? Later in the season, we'll take the away games early in the season. That'd be nice weather-wise. I also would love this. I love the Thanksgiving game against the Lions because remember when the Raiders played the Cowboys 2 seasons ago, it was like the second most watched regular season game in like 10. It was like it shattered Nielsen
ratings. Game. Plus, it was a really good game,
and the game was insane, right?
Yeah.
So I think the NFL looks at that. It's like, oh, let's put the Raiders back on Thanksgiving again. Because normally, and it sucks saying it, normally the Raiders get their primetime games early in the season because the fan base is so huge and so loyal.
They're still pumped.
But yeah, there's still reason for optimism. But as we've seen in the last 20 years, when the season starts getting away from us, the ratings start to drop. So they're like, all right, let's give the Raiders their the big primetime games early. I got a feeling. I have no inside information. Haven't talked to a single person. I just think the NFL is looking like, hey, let's get the Raiders back on Thanksgiving because it was their money on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, man. We were done a big favor, honestly, because there's 5 games right there that could have been really, really, really bad. The Jets, the Giants playing the same stadium, freaking Lambeau Field when it's frozen out there, New England. Even Pittsburgh, we saw last year what happened when we went up to Pittsburgh late.
I was at the Giants game 2 seasons ago when things were really starting to fall apart. Like that was the game where it's like, oh, finally the the terrible Giants, all this stuff with Gruden had already happened, but we had just won a couple. We're like, oh, we're
that was in October though. That was a nice weather there though.
Yeah, I'm not saying weather wise. I'm saying It was just like that kind of derailed our momentum that game. Weirdly, Patrick Graham dialed up a great defensive scheme against us, and it worked. Basically, just like 2 good corners, and that's it. We also didn't mention the AFC gets 9 home games, so 9 home games, 8 away games. It's the good year. Flip the coin.
I love it.
It's the good year. Anything else you want to see when the schedule is released Thursday night? Anything like you're like, yes, that's exactly what I wanted?
Nah, I don't give a shit. I would rather not play the Broncos on like prime time. Like I want to play another team on prime time,
Why?
because I've seen the Broncos too many times. Like I want to see like
You're
I
gonna see him
understand they're not
twice a
putting
season.
division games.
It's like I want to see him on prime time because it's like, why does your football team always schedule their worst opponent for homecoming? You know what I mean? Like you want the win. It's like, come on, we're gonna beat we get 2 guaranteed wins a year, and that's the Denver Donkeys. Let's put it on prime time. Let's let everyone see.
I would love to beat the Chiefs in prime time. I would love to beat the Chiefs in prime time.
God,
man.
what was that? How long ago was it when we had that shocking Thursday night game and just handed them their ass when we hadn't beaten them in forever? I think it was the first time Carr beat the Chiefs. It was a while ago now. We watched it together, I think.
Yeah.
In Huntington.
Yeah.
Like 7 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. It was a long time ago. Yeah.
Wow.
You remember that game where Carr threw that looping like high pass to Cooper and it hit the camera
the camera cable.
The camera cable. Oh my god.
The Raiders fucking luck.
He was wide fucking open too. Ugh. That was awful.
Tell me there wasn't a Chiefs fan working the utility, just giving that cable a yank. Get it. Grab it over there.
Terrible.
Piece of shit.
No, but there's some good matchups here, man. There's some good matchups. It should be fun. It should be fun to see where they're going and when. I just thank God we're not going international, dude. That's
yeah.
Fucking Jacksonville gets over there and stay over there.
Dude, they want to be there. The Jaguars want to because they have no fan base in the States. So like, let's be Europe's team. Like, get us over there as often as possible.
And they're staying there for 2 weeks. They got 2 weeks in a row.
Back-to-back games.
Yeah.
In 2 different stadiums. They're doing one at Wembley, one in Tottenham. They're there back-to-back, but different stadiums.
Because they're home 1 week and away the other. Duh.
They're the Tottenham team.
Fucking RJ. Did you know? Jesus.
Ready to do some Raiders news?
Sure, man.
So normally, every single time anyone talks about someone who has cancer, it's like the shittiest, most depressing conversation ever. Good news about cancer. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN's reporting, quite the comeback in the works. Tight end Foster Moreau, not Moreau, and the Saints have agreed to terms on a 3-year, $12 million deal, including $8 million guaranteed and $3 million in incentives. That's what his agent's telling him. So I'm thinking, oh, that's cool. So like, when he's done with chemo, when he comes back in a few seasons, they've got a deal ready for him. That's really cool of them to do that. Nope. Moreau has a positive diagnosis of his Hodgkin's lymphoma recovery and plans to play in 2023. He plans to play professional football after getting diagnosed with cancer, 2 months ago?
Yeah.
He just made cancer his bitch. He just bent cancer over and slapped it in the ass.
Yeah, that's great that they caught it as soon as they did, man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, guys, go in and get your blood work. Guys, gals, however you identify, go in there and get your blood work done, man. Get your panels done. Don't be afraid.
Do you get the colonoscopy? You're over 40. I turned 40 this year, but you're past.
Yeah.
You get it? Yeah?
Yeah, it's not fun.
No.
The worst part of the whole thing, honestly, is the night before when they give you those fucking like little juice shit to drink and it just fucking cleans you the fuck out and you can't eat for like a whole day and just fucking miserable and you got stomach cramps and you're dehydrated because all you're doing is shitting your face off. Oh, it's terrible.
I do like a good cleanse though.
It's not fun, dude. It's not fun. It's not like you had some freaking taqueria and you just shit your pants the next day.
You just feel lighter,
It's no, it's not like that at all, man. It's like debilitating cramps. You're like, oh, it's bad. At least
that you can.
I did it.
An adult male can hold between 5 and 20 pounds of fecal matter just stuck in the lining of your intestine. Because the walls of your intestine are like,
they found John Wayne had like 20 something pounds of shit in him.
You can get, and so like every now and then, right? Get a little cleanse, clean that up.
Just undercook you some chicken.
Yes, give yourself a little salmonella,
a little medium rare chicken breast. Just do it.
Clean you up real good. And you never know what you'll find.
Just sear that chicken breast. I'll be all right.
So anyway, we're talking diarrhea because Foster Moreau signing with the Saints. He gets to go back with.
Good for him, man. That's awesome for him.
It's a great story. Really great story. I'm
Go
sure.
Back home.
Derek Carr loved him too, so I'm sure that was a big part of why. So he gets to.
Well, he's a decent player too.
Gets to play football
Gets to go back home
after with cancer, back home with a quarterback he's familiar with the easiest schedule in football, in the worst conference in football. Couldn't happen to a better guy. God bless. Thank God. What a great news. What a happy day. That's so awesome.
Speaking of happy days,
right? I don't know how to in radio they call this a transition. I don't know how to do a hard left turn here, but we knew this day was coming. Henry Ruggs III, our former first-round wide receiver that was just starting to find his stroke 2 seasons ago, pleads guilty to the DUI case. So it'd been in all the pending legal issues. They're not going to go to trial. It makes sense, right? Like the evidence is overwhelming. It's just a matter of what kind of deal that his attorney can get with the district attorney, and what's, a fair, if there is a fair number, right? So the report is former Raiders receiver Henry Ruggs pleaded guilty Wednesday to 1 count of DUI resulting in death, 1 count of misdemeanor vehicular manslaughter, and he will serve 3 to 10 years in prison for the death of Tina Tinter. He might even play football again. 3 to 3 years. Good behavior. Obviously, he's got the best possible attorney.
He's what, 24?
He'd be in his 3rd year.
So 21 to 2. He's 23.
23.
He's 23 years old, man. And in 3 years, 26. I mean,
he could play. Look, maybe could play again.
He could possibly play again. I don't know, man. It's not just the fact that it happened. It's the fact that there was a pattern of behavior leading to it. And I can understand people coming back from things. But he fucking took someone's life, dude. Like,
yeah,
come on. That's just like, all right, enough's enough.
I'm a very, very big believer in paying your debt to society, and you've paid your debt to society, right? I'm a very big believer in, all right, you did a crime, you went to jail, do your best to become, you should be given normal opportunities to be a contributing member to society again. Whether Henry Ruggs comes back and plays football or Henry Ruggs comes back and plays a plumber, Tina Tintor is not coming back. It's over, right? That's done.
Yeah, I'm really torn about this one, man. I agree with you, like, as far as second chances, but dude, this is tough to come back from.
It's very tough to come back from. But I think society is better off when you've paid your debt and you give guys a chance to move on. Like I said, like if he's playing football, we look at it as like, and it's true, it is extremely glamorous and guys make a lot of money, but at the end of the day, it is a job. You're a professional football player that you're serving a purpose. And when Henry Ruggs is done, he's going to need a job. He's going to need a job, right? Is society better off with him bagging groceries than him playing football? And I would also hope that could be something for him to look forward to while he's rehabbing in prison. While he's saying, like, look, if I keep my shit together, if I stay focused, if I stay off the booze, if I make better decisions, if I grow up, I might be able to put on the shoulder pads again. But I have to prove it. It can be a motivating factor for a guy like him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if your question was very fair. I think there's a big pendulum swing between playing in the NFL and bagging groceries. There's a lot of things he can do that are a better career path than bagging groceries. So I don't know if we can necessarily paint it as okay, that's what those are his options, right?
My point being, no matter what he does, he can be a contributing member to society. You might, and you want him doing his, like, look, put it this way. If he was like a NASA scientist and this happened, the exact same thing happened, right? Would we say, no, he doesn't deserve to be a NASA scientist anymore? You're like, no, he's paid his debt and he's proven that he's not screwed up anymore.
Bro, that's actually
goes back to his job.
She never became an astronaut again. They never let her be an astronaut again. An astronaut was married to an astronaut, and she freaking drove to kill him, and they caught her. She was never an astronaut again.
I think that's a little different because
it's the same thing, man.
There's a difference between first-degree murder and vehicular manslaughter. One is I'm a murderer and I want to intentionally kill you. And another one is I made a really fucking stupid decision. There's a reason why there's different scales to death.
The end result is the same.
The end result's the same. But there's a reason why the penalty for first-degree murder is different than second-degree murder, which is different than manslaughter, which is different than vehicular manslaughter, because intent matters.
I understand. I don't know if I'm the NFL. I'm even entertaining that. Like Ray, look at Ray Rice.
He came back and played. He came back and played football after all that happened.
He didn't kill anybody.
No, but we saw him dragging his fiance by the hair out of an elevator. Like we saw later him
Captain Caveman.
Fucking Alex Pereira left hooking her in the elevator. Like some of the most damning visceral video evidence ever, and he still played.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
I look.
I'm really conflicted about this. Like I said, like I'm all about second chances, but like that second chance at life, right? Like, can you go and do something other than the NFL? Sure. Can you coach? Can you be a trainer? Can you be like a special, like a position type of like have a camp for like elite athletes and stuff like that? Yeah, you can do stuff like that. You can get the connections through Alabama and all that stuff to be able to do stuff like that. Yeah. Doesn't necessarily have to be playing in the NFL. That's the pinnacle. Should he be allowed back? It's almost like the Louis C.K. thing, okay? Like because I was talking to a friend about Louis C.K. a while back, and it's like, okay, so this guy cannot make money ever again in his life. I'm not saying what he did was right or what he did was wrong or whatever, but so now you're saying that he can't make money at all anywhere. He has to bag groceries, right? It's a little bit different because it's kind of more him doing things on his own. Yeah. But it's a tough question, man.
It's not an easy answer, but I think as a society, when someone, Ruggs committed a crime, a terrible one that ended about as bad as a crime can. Absolutely true. And he's going to pay his debt. He's going to pay his debt to society. And I think he deserves the opportunity to prove that he's a changed man and can work and doing the trade that he knows. And I'll tell you this much. Tina Tintor's family, I bet, wants him playing football again because there's going to be a very large civil lawsuit that he's going to have to pay very large sums of money to. So I bet you they're rooting for him to be back in the NFL making millions.
He's going to be living in an efficiency apartment, dude. Like he's not going to be like living life.
No, he's going to pay a lot, and rightfully so. Next, Teddy, Liney. We go from a medical miracle to a giant medical eyebrow raise.
Jesus.
Bo Jackson, 60 years old now. Can you believe that? 60 years old. He did an interview with McElroy and Kubelik in the morning and said he was in town for like a Frank Thomas like ceremony because they both played at Auburn. Mm-hmm. And he said, I wasn't there at the ceremony because of dealing with hiccups. I repeat, dealing with hiccups. I've had the hiccups since last July. I'm getting a medical procedure done the end of this week, I think, to try to remedy it. I've been busy sitting at the doctors, poking me, shining lights down my throat, probing me every way they can to find out why I've got these hiccups. That's the only reason I wasn't there. He's had hiccups for 10 months. So bad he couldn't attend a ceremony.
That's awful.
He wasn't getting shot off into space. He wasn't doing like nuclear experiments. He wasn't trying to be a Navy SEAL. He had hiccups so bad he couldn't attend a ceremony.
Dude, that's
crazy.
That is definitely crazy. You know why he still has the hiccups? Because he's not afraid of anything. Nobody can scare him to scare the hiccups out of him.
It's impossible.
You know what? This is part 2.
He's immune to all treatments.
Put your best hiccup remedy below. Let's see what we get.
Well, Bo said, he said, I've done everything. Scare me, hang upside down, drink water, smell the ass of a porcupine. Doesn't work. I got to admit, I haven't done the porcupine ass one yet. But if that's a thing.
I mean, it's medically proven.
Right? Science is science, right? This is a pro-science podcast.
It's true.
Ready to do some Autumn Windbags?
You know it.
First one, D Nice, 41. Clever name, D Nice. You always rely heavily on past experience / what's familiar when trying to build something for the first time, but their long-term success will depend on their ability to think beyond their experience in New England. This is after the segment I did saying how Mark Davis was telling the media, is like, no, we didn't hire Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler to do the Patriot way. They're doing the Patriot way. And I'm not saying that's good or bad. The results are yet to be seen, but they clearly are, both in who they've brought in, both in theme, both in personnel, both coach and player. And that's just how we are as humans, right? Like, we are products of our environment. Like, I grew up in Long Beach and Huntington Beach my entire life. I'm a California guy. Like, I love Mexican food and avocado, and I do yoga and like whatever, right? Like, this is what I know, right? This is what I've done. If I grew up in Minnesota or Uruguay or Tanzania, I'm sure I'd be different, right? So I think the reason I brought this up is so many people were like, why are you hating? Why is that a bad thing? Never once said it was a bad thing. I'm saying you can't expect two guys that had basically their entire professional careers, basically, like they've done college and other stuff, but basically what has made them who they are was working in New England under Belichick. That's the bulk of their professional experience. That's what they're going to use. That's what they know.
Yeah, I see it as the Parcellian way more than anything, because he was the same way. I hear all these stories about Bill Parcells and everything, and that's just who he was. He would cut guys just to send a message. You know what I'm saying? Like, he would trade guys early. He would, he would be that hard ass to people. If the media and the narrative that's being pushed want to say the Patriot way, then that's nothing that anyone who doesn't like the situation is going to use it as a negative. Oh, the Patriot way, Patriots East. Oh, the Raiders have a new logo, and it's the Patriots logo. It's like, if you're going to be a hater, you're going to find a reason and find something to say. The story has not been written fully yet. We got to take a look and see if these moves are going to pan out. And hopefully they do. I want the Raiders to win. I don't understand a lot of these guys out there are like, oh yeah, I want the Raiders to lose, so they fire McDaniels. Like, dude, wait, what? You want them to lose? I hear a lot of this stuff.
I haven't seen a lot of I want them to lose.
I've seen a lot of it on Twitter, a ton of it.
I see mostly a lot of just like, they don't believe in McDaniels and Ziegler, so it's like, let's not waste another year, get him out. It's too early for that. It's way too early for that. The results haven't been great so far, but it's been one season. They basically had 1.5 off seasons in one season, right? It's just not enough time. They finally have like a full draft class to deal with.
Yeah,
so and again, I stand by, they have not performed well so far, but it's been 1.5 off seasons in one season. Like,
yeah,
let them find their. And the other thing it just hit me today. Like, Josh McDaniels kind of has a little bit of like Belichick's first 1/8 of his NFL coaching career has been Josh McDaniels. Like, he was amazing under Parcells as a defensive coordinator, right? Belichick
started off terrible in Cleveland, but nobody cared.
McDaniels was great offensive coordinator for and then he goes to Denver, shits the bed. Belichick goes to the Browns, shits the bed, gets a second chance. Goes back to a good defensive coordinator. McDaniels goes back to good offensive coordinator, and then Belichick goes and finds a stroke, right? It's possible, right? It literally just happened with the main guy that's following him. I mean, that's crazy optimistic that Josh McDaniels has Belichick's success, but it's happened. Like, is it possible? Yeah, it literally just happened with the guy Josh McDaniels has been working under forever.
Yeah, and nobody knew what Belichick was until he started winning. Winning cures a lot of things, and it's just what annoys me a lot is the people out there who would rather be right than have a good outcome or the right outcome happen. Like, they would rather be right and us suck just because they want a specific coach gone or a regime gone, just because they don't like it.
My experience has been Raider fans and all fans in general, but Raider fans specifically, are just so caught up and emotional in the moment. If Josh McDaniels puts together, starts 4-0, 99% of them are going to change their tune. You're like, oh my God, we're waiting. This is great. Everything's awesome. I think we just
have a vast different experience.
We get so caught up in the moment, of like, this is how I feel right this second. Oh my God, he's destroying the franchise I love so much. Like,
dude, I had this
so caught up in the moment.
I had this joker in the comments of the last video. The Raiders are gonna be last in the AFC West, guaranteed. And I'm like, okay, so what happens if they don't come in last? Like, what are you putting up? Like, usually if there's a guarantee, there's something there. Like, what skin do you have in the game if they don't, you're it's like almost like you want them to be in last place. Oh, well, I'll put up my Raiders fandom. If they don't come in last place, I'll stop being a Raider fan. I'm like, dude, you're a fucking idiot, bro. This is the type of people that we have.
This is the thing. We can both read the exact same comment, come with completely different things. I don't think he's rooting for them to be last. He just hates where we're at.
You didn't hear the second part of the story. I didn't say that he wasn't a fan. I said, okay, what are you putting up if they don't come in last? And he said, my Raider fandom. If
What's he gonna say? I'm gonna Venmo you $100.
No, like, say so. I mean, if you're gonna be ridiculous,
high five.
If you're gonna be ridiculous and guarantee something that you have zero control over, well, then I can be ridiculous back.
Again, that doesn't sound like someone who's rooting for them to lose. It just sounds like someone who's pissed right this very second. And if they start winning,
and I'm trying to like calm everything down, and but then I'm not seen that way. I'm seen as I got my head so far up McDaniel's ass, and I kissed the feet of this regime and this and that. But I'm just like, dude, just wait and see what happens. 1 year is nothing.
You guys stay out of the comment section, Soto. It's going to drive you nuts. ITK.R8RSN.
Fucking wait, I think this is ridiculous.
Ampersand, Batman symbol. Mark Davis fire his barber yet?
Never. Can't fire yourself.
That thing's a. What if Mrs. Davis still shows up to the Mark Davis household every 2 weeks with
her little Tupperware
and just
okay,
like
Marky
scissors, tick 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 tick. How was your day? Oh, you got some smudge on your face. Spit, cleans it up. That would be heartwarming. I imagine Mark Davis just looks like he has that relationship with his mom, like a beautiful, loving one, but one that never graduated past being 8 years old.
I don't know, man. That haircut is. I just don't get it. I don't understand.
I'm telling you, if the Raiders are just one or two, like Mark Davis made these great moves away and a winning season away from that haircut being like a wig that's fans wear to games. You know what I mean? Like if he just does a couple really cool things and the Raiders win.
Look.
That's
he's already banged that freaking contortionist.
Cirque du Soleil girl.
Oh,
make her wear it.
No, not her wear it, but that's already a cool thing.
JXFET. We were asking that Raider fan at the draft who had the sign, Josh McDaniels eats corn the long way. We're like, where'd that come from? We're curious. Like 30 people, 100 people in the comment section. I guess we're the only people that didn't know. It's Mitch from the Raiders Report, or the YouTube channel. I guess that's. I don't know if it's his line or if he said it once, but that's where everyone got it from.
Yeah, man, you got a little shrapnel from that there, buddy. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, because it's like blowing somebody and someone got all crazy.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna go to I caught it. You're on board this. You're on board of this show too, Soto.
I didn't say anything.
If you come to a Raiders YouTube show that's called the Autumn Windbags, you're probably not going to get too PC of a show, to be honest. You know what I mean?
I don't know that any of us were really thinking that far down the line. I think if you want to trace it all the way back and make it something that it really wasn't intended to be, sure. I know that in our normal everyday lives, you and I are not insensitive to these types of issues and stuff like that. It's just talking shit. And I don't know if you
we take jokes as they're intended.
You caught the heat though. It wasn't
We're
me.
taking jokes as they're intended. They're jokes.
As jokes.
Jokes are jokes. That's how we take it. If you don't want to, that's fine. Suck it.
That's like one of our only female listeners out there too.
So again, I love how you distance yourself from this, like as if you're not.
Bro, I didn't say a goddamn thing. Bro, tape.
Okay.
I didn't say a goddamn thing when that happened.
Okay.
I distanced myself right then and there.
Pussy.
I knew what was happening.
Again, you got to stay out of the comment section. It's going to drive you nuts. Tomorrow,
I like to interact with you guys.
You're probably listening on Thursday. So today, Thursday, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific, Soto will be handling the schedule release. Live reaction. We got what games we want to go to. Are we getting the cold weather ones early, hopefully? Are we getting the open stadiums early? Is my prediction going to be true that we get the Thanksgiving Day game with the Lions?
That'd be
Hopefully
sweet.
So you have to find out. Until then, knock on wood if you're with me. Hey, you made it to the end of our video. Great job. I know you want more. Go ahead and click the next video. And if you're feeling crazy, go ahead and subscribe.